Hi, this is Jean Henningsen with Monarch Leadership Group, and this is Leading Through Crisis, Making a Difference. And here with me today is Carla Grimsley. She is the CEO of Interfaith Emergency Services. So welcome, Carla.
Thank you so much. That's good to be here and talk with you.
Yes, and thank you for taking the time because I know you all are incredibly busy. Please tell us, what has Interfaith been doing over the past weeks, especially since people have been in isolation and people have been losing their jobs?
Mhm. Well, immediately when this happened, most of our workforce that make everything work around here are volunteers that are senior citizens. And so immediately we lost our workforce. So we had to quickly figure out a way to replace them.
Wow, and
So
how many people was that, Carla?
that was between 200 and 300 individuals
Wow.
that come on a regular basis, either weekly or monthly, on some kind of schedule to take care of specific jobs for us. So, and then too, we were challenged with trying to provide services with less human contact. So we had to kind of revamp our entire processes for distributing
Yes,
food
sure.
and throw a lot of our regular processes by the wayside. A lot of the paperwork and details where we're actually confirming income and that kind of thing, we've just thrown by the wayside because right now it's more important just to get everybody help that needs it, and there's so many, and we need to process them quickly. So we are doing a drive-through food distribution now, where people just come in their cars, they pull in. There's three stations. They'll get bread in one station, canned goods in one, and meat and produce and stuff in another. And they just drive on through. They pop their trunk open, we put it in there, open their back door, and so they're not having to get out. We're not having to have a lot of contact. It's made my volunteers feel a lot safer, who are also, social distancing and wearing masks as much as possible. And we started the first week, we started all day every day, and it was we were seeing 400 cars coming through in just a short
Wow.
amount of time. We were running out every day. So we kind of scaled it back too, just because of the way we've had to keep kind of punting and backing up and trying again. So we spend the mornings packing food for this kind of distribution, and then the afternoons 1 to 4 people drive through and get the food. And that seems to be working really well. So we're doing Monday through Friday 1 to 4 now, with a very limited group of volunteers. I should say limited number. This group is not limited at all. They're amazing. They're displaced hospitality workers that, in exchange for working for us, we have been helping them with their essential bills, such as utilities, rent, diapers, daycare, those kind of things. So it's really been this, scratching each other's back process, which has
Yeah,
been really cool. And takes the guilt off of all of our volunteers for staying home, because they want to be here. We just can't allow them. So
sure.
we're just rolling along. Now we're probably doing, it's decreased since the stimulus checks have started coming out. So the last couple of days we've seen between 130, 170 cars in the afternoons coming through, and which is good. We can manage that quantity,
And
and
that's every afternoon?
every afternoon, Monday through Friday. Now, next week, we are going to take Monday off because I'm so excited about this. The school board's working with us again to make sure we can get food out to the schools, to go to the families of the children that are in our Food for Kids backpack program. These
Yes.
are kids that we typically feed over the weekends that are at risk of hunger. And the challenge has been, how do we get that food to those kids? So the schools, the principals, the school board, and then just some really great school board volunteers have been wonderful about coming and picking up boxes of food and just taking them, because we don't want them back, obviously. So we'll pack a box of food for a family and get them out to the schools, and then they call parents pick them up, and they're getting fed. The next step is to try to identify those families who haven't been able to get to the schools and find volunteers to deliver to them. So that's what we're working on now. So we're still ever changing and trying to do more to serve more people.
Yes, yes. Well, it sounds like Interfaith has been very responsive to the needs, and I love how you're adjusting and changing, and pivoting based on the needs, not just the needs of the people that are coming to get the food, but also the needs of your staff.
Yeah.
Because going all day, every day, obviously way too much. So the 1 to 4, that definitely seems more reasonable.
Mhm.
So tell me, with regards to your staff and how your leadership of them has changed, take a moment and tell us about that.
Well, first, I've been a little more hands-on because we are short-staffed. So,
Sure.
like today, I went and picked up a donation in a truck, grabbed a volunteer, and yesterday was out in the food line helping. It's one of those times when, as a leader, you just have to roll up your sleeves and do whatever you would ask anybody else to do.
Hmm.
So it's been a lot of fun actually to work more closely with my staff and volunteers. But also I've had to just be really responsive and mindful of their own emotional and spiritual needs too. There's a lot of concern. Some of them have relatives they live with or care for that are at risk, and they've had to make hard decisions about whether to come in or not. Um, and so we've had to weigh out some odds, or do some give and take about, okay, can we let go of this normal way of operating to make this employee feel safer so that people can be served. We may not be able to serve as many people, but at least people will be served. So we just made adjustments for the good of everyone, because I have to protect my staff or no one will get served. So they've been really brave about all of this. They've been coming in day after day. We did take last week off because I could just sense the exhaustion. They were just really getting tired in every way, physically, mentally. So they all have really appreciated that. And this week we've come back, refreshed and ready to go again. And it's actually fun as a leader to watch processes morph and change, especially as you let staff take the lead. We took over today the distribution of the Faith Over Fear signs that have been a big hit in the community, and it's down at our thrift store. And I was just down there, and it was just really fun to watch how my staff, have made the arrangements to make it work for our property and how our setup is, and they're just so flexible and easy to work with, and that's been huge.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. And let me just applaud you for recognizing that your staff was tired and depleted and that they needed a week off. I mean, that is an incredibly hard decision to make as a leader, especially when your business is in such high demand like it is right now. I mean, for you to shut things down for the sake and well being of everyone that's been serving everyone out there. I mean, that's just amazing. Good for you.
Well, thanks, and I don't regret it for a second. It was, we came back so much stronger, and I know we're going to be better the weeks ahead, because there's going to be, we're in this for the long haul. It's going to be a while, and I don't think we've yet seen the full financial impact that this is going to have. Right now people just got stimulus checks, and that gave them a little sigh of relief, but those stimulus checks are not going to come again, next month when rent's due. So there's still going to be a lot of need in our community that is not typical, and we want to be in position to do as much as we can.
Sure, sure. And I know a lot of people in the community rely on interfaith to help them.
Oh yeah, and like I said, we've seen that number about triple right now.
Yes.
It's been really interesting. The people coming through for food now are people that have never come to a food pantry before, never had to ask for food before, and I think the way we've done it is also, taken off some of the stigma, because they're not, having to give ID and all that. I mean, they're flashing an ID, so we know they're from Marion County, but there's not paperwork. They're not even putting their name out there. They literally are just driving through in their cars. But we do talk with them, and we're seeing people, that were in management, people that, have worked for for different companies they'll mention for 13 years, and, have never missed work.
Wow.
And it's been really incredible to see a whole different population of our community now understand what it's like for the people that we serve on the, during regular times.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it's happened. very interesting impact on everyone in our community for a lot of different reasons.
Yes, for sure. And hopefully, when everyone gets back on their feet, they will remember the help that they got and they will give back, right?
Well, Jean, that's the other thing that I have been blown away with is we're getting donations today, daily, from people we've never heard of before, not our regular donors. And a lot of them are coming online in increments of $20, $50, $30. And I just know that that started the week that the stimulus checks started coming out. I just know that so many people out there are sharing their stimulus checks with us when, they probably need it too, but people are so mindful of how much better they might have it than someone else right now.
Yeah,
A lot of retirees are just turning over their entire stimulus checks to us and saying,
yeah.
help people that need it. And that's been just such an inspiration, and, makes you just want to come back to work every day. It seemed like
Sure, sure.
this morning I got here at the warehouse and was met with a group of retirees from On Top of the World who formed a food drive and brought 8,000 pounds of food and a check, and well, $10,000 in checks and cash. Just
Wow, wow.
neighborhood, effort. And then the Faith Over Fear movement. We've just got 19,000, well, right under $20,000 given to us from that effort, and that's still going. So that amount's going to increase. This community has just been amazing. It just really restores your faith in the goodness of people. It
Yes.
really.
Absolutely. And the faith over fear signs, we have one in our yard and in our neighborhood, it's almost every yard has one or every other yard. So that was an incredible movement that was started. And the fact that you've been able to raise almost $20,000 and still going strong, that's amazing.
Yeah, and where's this gotten news attention, and it's not really slowing down. There's pockets of the county that still are saying, hey, can we get someone to distribute them on our end of the county? So we're going to try to do some remote distributions too. But
Fantastic.
and our shelter is still running also. I forgot to mention that we still are running our shelter. My shelter staff have just been faithful to come in and
Oh,
try
good.
to, keep our residents safe and follow good practices so that we don't have an outbreak in our shelter. So far, everything's been good. Talked to a woman today that in spite of all this, she was one that was able to keep working and came in just over the moon because she is getting to move out into her own apartment next Saturday.
Oh,
So we're still having these success stories, even in spite of so many challenges that have come upon us now. So it's really it's fun to be at Interfaith right now, actually.
I bet a little tiring, but
It is. It's
certainly fun
exhausting.
and fulfilling.
Yeah,
How rewarding that must be for you and all the staff
it
for
is.
what
It
they're
is.
doing.
And like I
So,
said, I'm so proud of my staff for the way that they have been flexible. That's been our, word of the day. Every day is flexible. Um,
yes.
and the ability to just kind of, okay, today this is every day it's something different. So okay, we're going to deal with it this way today. And it's just been such a strength that a lot of times you don't have the opportunity to witness that in your staff, but a crisis like this definitely gives you that opportunity to see how strong your staff is in that area. And got to give my staff credit, they're really exceptional when it comes to flexing.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. And certainly makes your job a little easier, doesn't it?
Yes, and two, just having the trust factor. But again, that's, to me, that's a leadership thing. That part of being a leader is to get people to process and think like you do about your mission. And so when there's decisions that have to be made and people always go back to the mission, we all end up making the same decisions. So I love it when I hear that my staff were presented with a problem and they couldn't reach me or whatever, so they just made a decision. And it's great when I go, man, that's the same decision I would have made. So that you're all on the same page as far as your mission and what's important, and how you want to move forward. And as a leader, I can't think of anything more reassuring and stress relieving because you take a lot of
Absolutely.
stress out of the equation when you know your staff can just make the right decisions and have been empowered to do so. Makes my job a whole lot easier.
Yes. Well, and kudos to you as the leader because you're the one that is communicating that vision, right? And the mission of your organization. And they've bought into that and they're owning it and they live it every day when they come in. So
Right.
that's part of your leadership and impressing that upon them and how important that is. And yes, you're absolutely right. When everybody's in alignment, then you don't have to worry.
Exactly. And two, as a leader, something I've learned here at Interfaith is the importance of reiterating that. You come in sometimes into an organization and you go, okay, this is my belief, this is how I want things to be, but you forget that you have this attrition, you have, just burnout, you have other things. So for leaders, I think it's a constant, um, it should be a thing you're constantly doing and constantly checking. It's not something you can just do one time and expect it to stay that way. I'm constantly having to go back and reiterate that and talk people through our mission and our what matters, and have those conversations with staff and volunteers. And I think recognizing that's been probably one of the greatest areas of growth that I've had since I've been here, is
Mhm.
just knowing I can't think I've done that and check that off. It's
Sure, sure.
part of your culture, something you just have to keep doing all the time.
Yes, yes. And your staff obviously understands what they do daily ties into that mission. It's not just a statement that you've put in a pretty frame on the wall.
Right,
They
right.
actually know what that looks like day to day. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So obviously, you all have done so
I feel
much
very
for the
lucky. I feel
community during all of this. Now, what can the community do for you? What can, I know you get lots of donations from organizations and you have donors that give to you regularly, but what about the person down the street? What can they do to make a difference?
Well, right now, quite honestly, we have enough food and food drives already lined up in the next few weeks that we're really great with the food right now. But what I'm looking towards now is in June, July, when the world starts going back to normal,
Mhm.
people are still going to be trying to catch up in their financial arena and in their
Yes.
finances. They're still going to be needing help to kind of get back to where they were. So, if some people want to just put on their calendar in June, check with Carla and see if she needs a food drive. Or you can send donations now, and we, obviously will continue to use those donations through the summer. Monetary donations as we get to where we can order more and more food. So that's helpful too. So really either one, but just the message I'd like to say today is don't forget about us, because you know this might start not being on the news every day, eventually, but I guarantee you the ramifications and the impact of this event and this crisis will still be lingering, and we'll still be here trying to help people dig their way out. So
Yes.
just keep us in mind in the future too.
Yes, yes. And I'm sure that a lot of people have things that they want to donate to your thrift store. And right now, you're not accepting donations, correct?
Correct. So yeah, if you'll just hold those, we can't wait to open and start coming and picking up all of your stuff. But just if you could hold it until we're able to get back into business and have all of our staff, because one of the things people don't think about is my people go, why don't you just pick up? Your thrift store staff don't have a lot to do. Well, they do. They're doing food distribution. They're doing sign distribution. They're processing rent and mortgage payments for people right now. They are um, they've been filling in a lot of gaps that our volunteers have had to leave.
Yes.
So they have been busy doing that, and that's more critical right now than the thrift store being open. So but
Yes.
when we open, they're gonna want merchandise to work with. So
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And there's going to be people that are going to need it. I'm
mhm,
sure people that maybe had to start over
right.
and, they will definitely need your thrift store for sure.
Right. And of course, the medication program that it supports, that's been going nonstop. We haven't closed that down either. So
Okay, great.
still
Great.
funding.
So if someone is watching this and they know someone who isn't able to pay for their medication, how do they go about getting support from Interfaith?
I would just recommend they call our main number, 352-629-8868, and tell the receptionist who answers that they want to speak to someone in the medication program. If we don't have a receptionist working, which is nights and weekends, there should be a prompt. They can either leave a message, or if they get someone during the weekday, just let them know, what their kind of the script they have, and we will let them know if we can help them or not, because we have some requirements about they have to be uninsured, they have to be in a certain income range. So they'll walk them through it, but most of the time we're able to help people. So and we would probably we've got it worked out now, so we can process these things without having the people come in. We're working with the pharmacies now to do everything electronically, so we would probably just process it, and they would go to the pharmacy and pick up their medication. It's that easy.
Fantastic. And so, as we're talking about this, food, medication, clothing, thrift store items, what people are going to need going forward once we get into summer and past the summer months, it's kind of an unknown, isn't it? Because we're not
It
sure where our community is going to be. Where do you post what you all need? I mean, is it on Facebook? Do they go to the website? What's the best way for people to know how to support Interfaith?
Facebook is our main source of communication to the community, just because it's so much quicker and to update, especially right now when things are ever changing. We can put up tomorrow we're giving out food, and the midway run out, so we can tell people stop coming, and all that is time sensitive on Facebook. So yeah, we if you go to our Facebook page, just Google or do a search for Interfaith Emergency Services, and we'll pop up, and like us, so that way you'll get notifications, and you'll see everything that we're doing. We try to post, daily we're posting what's going on. Also giving a lot of shout outs and kudos to people that are doing extraordinary things to help us. So that's kind of fun to see too, and uplifting. But that's the best place for the information. I know at one time there was information that was going on Facebook, but it was a couple weeks old. And so people were getting all these mixed messages. So I'm telling just go to our Facebook page, because there's some old messages out there still circulating.
Well, sure, especially the food. If you're not needing food, but you're needing more monetary donations, that's really good for people to know.
Yeah. And like I said, I can say that today, that right now we're good with food, and the end of next week it could be a whole different story.
It could change.
Yeah. So that's why I say, please check the Facebook page on the regular, so you know where we're at from day to day.
Okay, and I'll be sure to tag this video with your Facebook page as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So it'll be easy for them to get there. Well, gosh, I almost want to tell you go take a nap, but I know you're not going to.
Maybe this weekend. But no, it's funny. I can't wait to get back out there, and I'm going to miss this actually when I have to go back to normal, and we have all these volunteers to do a lot of the little flight lifting that I've been doing. I'm really going to miss that one-on-one with our clients, that I get to see them and meet them and smile at them, and hear their gratitude. And there's the thing, a lot of our donors don't ever get to hear that. I wish every donor could hear what we hear as people come to the lines, as people, get their medication paid for, the tears that so many people broke out in tears when we were able to say, don't worry, we can take care of your rent payment this month. It's just so moving, and I wish every donor got to experience that with us. But just know in your hearts, if you give, you are really making a huge impact on people in need.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for your incredible leadership during all of this, for being responsive to your team, taking care of them, taking care of yourself. And I hope that over time, the need will lessen. So not only does that mean that we are recovering as a community, but also it gives your staff a little bit of a break that I'm sure they could really use.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope for everyone that we all get through this together. And I'm hopeful, faithful, believing we will.
Absolutely. Faith over fear, stronger together. Thank you so much for your time, Carla. We really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Jean. I appreciate you too for all of your support as well.
My pleasure.